work.
How dare you?
Keep everybody safe.
Keep everybody warm.
How dare you?
You know, it's 2 degrees outside. I'm just trying to make sure that you people have heat. I don't think I've ever had the cops called on me. Was it a fun experience?
All he did was come up and ask if we saw anybody knocking on doors. I was like, yeah, that was me. He's like, all right, see you later. I was saying, I guess all the flashing lights and company logos on the side of the truck didn't give it away.
Tip it off.
Well, I think people are really on edge these days and really quick to call the cops.
No.
Like, you know, I don't think I've ever called the cops, but maybe like 4 times my entire life. And one was when our neighbor's house got shot with a gun.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I feel like that was pretty, that was a good reason to call the cops.
I don't think I've ever called the cops.
Yeah.
I've called them once because our neighbors were shooting at each other.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was going to ask you about that. Didn't you have somebody got stabbed with a sword? Is that right?
So from what my drunk neighbor told me when we got back was the neighbor to my left, he was like a schizophrenic or some shit.
Yeah.
And then he went over to the neighbor beside him and was like banging on the door saying like, my wife and kids and shit are in there. And then the wife came to the door and they got in an argument and then the husband came outside and they started fighting. And then the wife pulled a gun and, according to my neighbor, shot him in the dick.
Whoa.
And then he like ran back to his house and then the EMTs came and then they were trying to, help him because he was shot in the dick.
He had a dick wound. Yeah.
And then he charged the EMTs with a sword. And the cops who went in there shot him in the chest.
No.
And then I haven't heard anything since. So
and now he's dead.
He's probably dead.
He came out with Excalibur.
but even that time I called the cops on them shooting 20 feet from my house.
Yeah.
I was like, I feel like such a fucking Karen.
You feel like a Karen.
Yeah.
Like, I really hate to do this, but my neighbors are shooting each other.
I hate to do this, guys, but
Like some fucking Grand Theft Auto shit.
I called the cops one time because there was a person in front of me. I was coming home from college, and I was going down, South Carroll Road back behind O'Charlie's.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a person in front of me, and they were driving erratically, and they, almost hit 5 cars.
Oh.
Coming the other direction.
No.
Like, the guy kept going over.
Swerving in.
Yeah, swerving in and out of the lanes and everything like that. And I was like, he's going to get somebody killed. And so I did. I called the cops. I tattletaled on him. But, I mean, fuck. What if I woke up...
I pulled out my gun and I shot him in the head.
Yeah, I took care of that problem. But, I mean, what if I woke up the next morning and it was drunk driver kills, 2 families on the road?
He'd be like, sucks to be that guy.
Why didn't somebody call us and let us know?
call the cops like, don't worry, I took care of it. What do you mean?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
I saw a video today where apparently some dude was playing Rainbow Six, which is like that. It's like a shooter game.
Tom Clancy.
Yeah. No. So he was playing it was like a shooter game or whatever. And there's a certain button combination you can do on an iPhone where it'll turn on like a SOS mode, and it'll immediately contact the police. And he had accidentally done that somehow, so he called the police unknowingly, and he was shouting I killed that guy, I killed 2 people, and and his Ring camera caught him coming out in his driveway, and the cops are like, "Get your fucking hands in the air!" He's like, "Whoa, what's going on here?"
I'll tell you, my phone has done that before. It's I think if you hold the lock button for a certain amount of time, it will pull up the emergency SOS thing, and it's calling while it's in my pocket, and it'll make the siren noise, but it doesn't give you enough time to get your phone out of your pocket and end it.
Yeah.
So I have to call the cops back and be like, hey, I was didn't mean to do that.
I've done it before. I was holding my phone, and I guess I didn't realize that I had the button depressed or whatever. And I felt it vibrate, and I looked down, and it was calling the cops in 3, 2, 1. I was like, no, don't do that. When we were younger, probably like I was probably like 13 or 14, and Justin was over at the house. I think this was like in the middle of the summer because like we all spent our summers together playing RuneScape. Mm-hmm. That's what we did. And Aaron had already fallen asleep, and me and Justin were like, "Wouldn't it be funny if we called 911 for no reason?" And so we did it. We called 911. And it literally rang once, and we ended it. And we were like, let's not do that. Like, let's just take it easy. And so we were sitting there in the living room, and then all of a sudden, the door to the kitchen opens up, like at Mom and Dad's house.
Yeah.
And we're like, who's coming in the house right now? Like,
it didn't even knock, just opened the door.
Yeah, they didn't knock. They just opened the door, came inside. It was like 2 a.m. And we're like looking into the kitchen, and we hear him go, "Sheriff's Department," and we're like, "Oh no," because like Mom and Dad are asleep in bed, and I walk over and I was like, "Hey, yeah, that was me. I called the cops."
I'm gonna come clean now. I don't...
Yeah, I was like, it rang once and we ended it. And he was like, yeah, it'll pretty much immediately notify us and give us your address. And there was like another cop walking around the house, like shining a flashlight on everything.
Don't do that.
Yeah, and he kind of got on my ass. He was like, we're wasting this time coming out here. What if somebody needs our help right now? He makes good points.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're absolutely right, sir. I'm so sorry. You should probably go help those people. Just trying to get them to go away. So Mom and Dad didn't find out. This will probably be the first they hear about it.
Just don't wake my parents.
Yeah.
You can shoot me.
Yeah, you can shoot me. Just don't wake my mom and dad up. I don't want to get in trouble. Yeah.
I did have, I'll say her name, you can bleep it later, but called the cops on us for sledding in her yard.
Oh, yeah. Didn't she do that after she told you could?
Yeah, she gave us you could do that like a couple years before, so we just kept doing it.
Yeah.
And then she came out and said to stop. Well, we stopped, and then Brandon went back over there and did it. And then she got mad and then called the cops. And then they came, and Jace was over there. The cops came, knocked on the door. Jace was like in the kitchen eating a bowl of cereal or whatever.
Is that Mom and Dad's house? Yeah.
And Mom said Jace walked in the living room and looked at Mom, was like, somebody needs to talk to you.
He didn't say it was the police. I can see Jay saying that just so deadpan.
Let's go back to eating his cereal.
Yeah. The police are here. Didn't you roll her? You TP'd her tree one time?
Mm-hmm. I did do that.
Yeah, that was the night of my graduation. Was it? Because they were having a cookout the next day, and I remember I drove up in the driveway. I was like, "Oh, nice." And then wasn't y'all throwing a javelin up in the tree at each other?
So we had one of our buddy's name's Cody. He was pretty small at the time, so we got him to climb up in the tree and start getting some of it. Well, me and Justin just went to the garage and grabbed the javelin that was in there.
Which is like a spear.
Yeah. Just started throwing it up in the tree, trying to get toilet paper down. He was up there freaking out.
Yeah, we're throwing a spear at him.
And Christine's dying laughing the whole time.
Oh, man.
But
that woman is just
a real cunt.
Just a righteous cunt.
Yeah.
Just neighbor from hell.
Yeah.
Remember when, she would claim that Molly, our old childhood dog, could get off her leash, go over and poo in her yard, and then go back and put herself back on the leash.
Right.
And then she accused you of being a peeping Tom one time because she had found your wallet or something?
Yeah, so me and Josh Poole were doing a project for Mom's class, trigonometry, sine and cosine and all that stuff. And so we thought it would be funny, the hill, where that house is at now at the end.
Yeah,
there used to be a hill that dropped off and went down there.
Right, down where that little green bridge was. Yeah.
So I guess she owned that property. I don't think she really owned it. I think you could just walk down there.
Yeah, clearly not, because they built a house on it.
Right. And so we thought it'd be funny if I laid on my side and rolled down the hill so we could demonstrate, I think, sine or cosine waves or whatever it is, right? And I guess my wallet came out of my pocket, and I guess she was out fucking around down there because she saw some people over there and then found my wallet. and then came over and told Dad I was like looking in her fucking house and shit. And then Dad was like, "Fuck you, bitch." Get the
Yeah, this old crusty ass 70-year-old woman.
Yeah.
You want to go get an eye full of that?
Oh yeah.
It was funny watching her like walk the property line between her yard and Mom and Dad's yard, and like pick up the pine cones that fell from the trees and like throw them back in our yard, just so angrily that nature was daring to encroach on her property.
That nasty bitch used to lay on a float out in the lake in a bikini.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, I
God.
remember that.
I know. I was like, I wish there would just be like a snapping turtle come and just take a nipple off.
I'm surprised it didn't happen because there's some pretty nasty stuff in that lake.
Yeah,
It's not the kind of lake
it's not
you
a
want to
swimming lake.
No, it's not a floating lake either. You don't want to get in it at all.
You catch the fish out of there and you put them back.
Yeah, like the three-eyed fish from The Simpsons.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember one time we were like in the house and the water cut off, and I was like in the middle of a shower,
Yeah.
and so I had all this shampoo in my hair.
Yeah.
And so I was like, what the fuck am I going to do with all this shampoo in my hair? So like I dried myself off with all the shampoo still in my hair, and I just went down to the dock and stuck my head in the
Oh
lake.
no, that nasty water. I remember we used to get the paddle boat and go out into the lake with it, and then so like the neighborhood where Mom and Dad live is like kind of bisected by this one little bridge, and there's a lake on both sides.
And
And-
the lake is generous.
Lake is generous. It's
Just
a big
a
pond.
couple
Right.
ponds.
And we would get in that paddle boat and go underneath that bridge.
Ugh.
And it's just like spider hell under there.
Ugh. Ugh.
And we'd come out the other end like, But the bad thing was you had to go back through because the lake didn't go all the way around. That damn paddle boat was a death trap, too, because that thing's got to be like, I don't know, 40 fucking years old, if not
Yeah,
more.
we don't have the plug for it anymore.
Yeah, there's no plug. And like it used to take on water
Right.
when we used it.
Right.
Yeah. That thing was scary.
Yeah, fun times had by all.
I remember one time I thought that, like, I don't like at the time I was a young kid, so I didn't understand, like, you know, things aren't just clean.
Right.
And so I went down to I was like, you know what, we've got all this water back here behind the house. Why don't I just go drink some of it? And like I got down on the dock and I like leaned over it, and and sucked up a bunch of the lake water and drank it, and I got so fucking sick, like immediately. I had like
I bet you did.
it was like the worst stomach ache, and it lasted for so fucking long.
It's like right there grinding paint on the dock. I'm like,
Like, I'm surprised I didn't get like parasites or something, sucking up lake scum.
Immediately get a temperature.
Yeah, like break out a horrible rash.
I was talking to Mom the other day too when was it Branson? Went to it on spring break and all of us got just sicker than
Oh,
shit.
that was
yeah.
miserable.
Not,
She tried
not
to-
fun.
Did you try to do something fun for us?
Yeah, God, that was
Yeah.
so miserable. They had this magnet on the fridge where we all took a picture of the Dixie Stampede,
Yeah.
and everybody in that picture just looked so downtrodden.
Yeah, it just looks sick.
I think Aaron had pneummonia. You had pneummonia, right?
Yeah, Mom
Yeah.
had like stuck him in the bathtub, like trying to get the fever to come down.
They got like 105 fever or something.
Dude, don't you start like losing brain cells around that temperature?
Because I remember one morning, like we woke up and I think you had like a nosebleed, and there was just like all this blood hole on the pillow. And like I had an upper respiratory infection. There's just like snot and
Just
just mucus all over the other pillow. And then Aaron's like in a bathtub full of ice.
Like he had a kidney removed. Poor Mom. She's just like trying to round us all up. Please don't fucking die.
Remember we used to get nosebleeds constantly.
Yeah. I don't know what that was about. Like, I haven't had one in a long time, but I used to get them all the fucking time.
I remember, I think me and you were in like the back of the car, we were fighting or something, and like Dad reached back there and slapped you in the fucking face or something. Your nose started bleeding. And I was like, I don't know, 6 at the time, and I was like, oh shit.
Oh, fuck. It didn't take much, like the smallest like bump, and it would just start going.
Gush.
And one time I realized I could use that to my advantage. And I didn't want to be at school one day. So I went in the bathroom and I punched myself in the nose so I could get a nosebleed. And I got to go home. It was like 3rd grade. I was like, yeah, it's fucking awesome. Talking about the dock reminded me of when you were swinging that bat down there.
Oh God.
So I wasn't there. I don't think I witnessed what happened. So were you were there? Did you see what happened?
Yeah, I think me and Justin was over there too. I think, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was.
I don't remember what her name was.
The brother's name was Grant.
Was it Annie?
Annie.
Annie's
Yeah, Annie. And I remember we like found this old orange or something.
The old moldy
The
orange.
old moldy orange. And I was like, you know, it'd be really funny is if I threw this orange up and I hit it with this bat, this aluminum bat. And so like I went out onto the dock.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't even standing like in the yard. I went out onto the dock. And I threw the orange up and just whiffed it and just missed the orange. And before I did anything, I told everybody, I was like, hey, everybody, take a step back.
Because I'm going to swing
Because
a
I'm
bat.
swinging this bat.
Yeah.
And I swing and like on the back swing, like I just let it go.
Yeah.
And I felt the bat ricochet off something back behind me.
Oh, no.
And I was like, oh no. And I looked back and like I just smacked her. It was right above the eye.
orbital bone.
Yeah, and it just like split her eyebrow open. I guess it broke her glasses and
Just hit her right in the you hit a girl in the face with a baseball bat.
I know. I was like, oh, and I whiffed too. I didn't even hit the orange.
That's the worst part. Oh man.
I felt like such a jackass. I was like, because at the time I wanted to be like, I told you not to be standing behind me.
Yeah. Now look at you, old busted up head. They used to come over because mom taught piano, right?
Yeah, Mom taught them piano.
Yeah. I remember that, you know, mom had a lot of students who were like in my grade. Mm-hmm. So I remember there was 2 girls that used to come over and take piano lessons, and I think it was like in the middle of the summer or something, and I had fallen asleep on the couch, and I was like, I don't know, 10, maybe 9.
No.
Tidy whities
And I
or
was in my
something.
tidy whities, and I woke up to the sound of piano music. Now the piano is within like eyesight of where I'm laying.
Like I can look and 12 feet away is the couch that you were laying
Yeah,
on.
there's my little chubby pale ass, my little Bobby Hill self, laying in my tidy whities.
You like turned over on the side, so there's just ass cheek.
And like, I
All
woke,
droopy in the back.
it's like an old bear. And like I woke up and I look, and there's one of the girls from my class. And I'm just laying on the couch in my fucking underwear. It's like one of the most mortifying things. I don't know why Mom wasn't like, Gary, you need to go put some clothes on or something. She was just like, nah, just don't worry about him. Just do the C major scale. That wasn't the only time something like that happened, where I accidentally exposed myself to a girl. We had, I'm sure Mom told us, but we had a babysitter. I'm sure she told us that we were going to, and I just didn't pay attention to that.
Right.
And I remember that I had a loose tooth. I had been like wiggling a loose tooth for a while, and I woke up one morning, and my tooth had fallen out, and I was super excited. I wanted to go show Mom, and so the babysitter was some girl from one of her high school students, probably. Who was just like sitting on the couch watching TV, and I came running through the house in my tidy whities, and I ran into the living room, and I'm just like, oh, and she's like, hello, and I'm just standing there like, tooth came out. She was like, okay. I was like, I'll see you
How about you
later.
put some clothes on? You must have been pretty young, because like mom and dad stopped getting babysitters like when I turned like 11.
Yeah, I remember being pretty young. I was old enough to remember that forever.
Yeah, for it to scar you up pretty good.
Yeah. I was like, why did that have to happen to me? Like, I was like, immediately my day is ruined. I just woke up 3 seconds ago.
Right.
It at least it wasn't recorded and placed on the internet. And I want to use that as a segue into our Super Cringe Thursday, because I'm really excited to talk about this one, because we haven't had a Super Cringe Thursday post in a while. So, for anybody who didn't see it, our Super Cringe Thursday post, as a matter of fact, y'all will probably be hearing about this a week after we made that post, because I think we still have one episode in the pocket right now.
So I'll try to get 51 out on Tuesday.
52, I think. This will be episode 53.
Okay, so I'll try to get 52 out on Tuesday, and then 53 I'll try to get that out on Thursday.
Okay, we'll get it together eventually. Yeah. But yes, for our Super Cringe Thursday post is a classic. So it's I'm sure most everybody knows what Minecraft is that's listening, and Minecraft is really popular with the younger audience, like probably kids from like I don't know, like all the way from like 6 to like 14.
Right.
And then even probably a little bit beyond that. But I think most of the targeted demographic is quite young. So at Minecon, which of course is the Minecraft convention, they have a panel of all the developers who will come up there and answer like any, kids might ask like, how hard was it to put cows in the game? Something like that.
Yeah.
Well, this kid comes up and he has a bit more of a technical question. He tries to ask how much dedicated RAM is needed for a server, like a Minecraft server.
Yeah.
But I think what happened is he sounds like a little kid for one thing, but also he was super nervous.
Yeah.
Because he gets up there and he goes, I watched the video so many times I can quote it perfectly. He goes, I was wondering, how much dedicated wham is needed for server? And what's so funny about it is his eyes get so big. like halfway through the sentence, he's like, oh no.
It's just getting worse.
It keeps getting worse. Every word is worse than the last. And, of course, the people on the panel are like, I'm sorry, can you ask that again?
Yeah.
And he just goes, dedicated wham.
I guess.
Oh, okay, yes. So the reason that it's Super Cringe Thursday post is because it's if that happened to you, that would be a really cringy thing.
Right.
And it's just it's immortalized on YouTube.
Right.
Like it's not going away.
And that's an old video too. That
kid's probably like 16 years old by
16,
now.
17 years
and
old
he's
now.
driving around.
Right.
He could be driving and listening to this episode. Like, God fucking damn it.
I wonder if he like wakes up at night and he's like,
He has nightmares about it. It's like a bunch of people dancing around like dedicated.
Like buy his first fucking car. He's like, how much is that wham outside?
Yeah, a Dodge Wham, 1500. It's funny you say that because there's if you look up that video on YouTube, there's like one of the recommended ones. It's like the Dodge commercial where he's like guts, glory, wham.
Don't they have like their usernames above their head too?
Yeah, he had like his like Minecraft name up above his head.
No.
So it's just a sad scene.
yeah, oh no.
But you can't, obviously I'm not making fun of him because he's a kid. He's just a kid, but it is a cringy thing that happened. And if you put yourself in his shoes,
Right.
like wouldn't that just be awful?
Yeah, it'd be bad.
Right? Because the only people that, remember what happened with me and my tidy whities is me and that girl.
Right.
Which out of context, that sounds like a bad thing to talk about. But, everybody saw the video.
Right. Ugh.
And we said it a bunch of times, like thank God the internet wasn't what it was when we were kids. Because I know that, I've done plenty of cringy shit that would I'd be the dedicated Wham kid for sure.
Yeah, I miss the days back when the internet was sort of like a Wild West.
Yeah.
Like you didn't really know, and we've probably talked about this before on the podcast. Like I remember like when Mom and Dad first got a computer, and they're like you can get on the internet, and I was like, what is that?
Yeah, what even is that?
Yeah, like what do you mean the internet? And they're like, you can look stuff up on the computer.
Yeah.
I was like what? Like, how do you? I don't understand.
Yeah, like you're not connecting any bridges here.
Right.
You're not making any sense of this.
And they're like, what do you like? And I was like, well, I like wrestling. And they're like, well, you can go to the wrestling website.
You're like, well,
I was like, oh,
now you have my attention.
And I remember like going to like the WCW website, and it's like slowly loading.
Yeah, because we had dial-up.
Like the page, and of course, like it's all like the old school like HTML, CSS like format, where it's like everything's like in the blocks, like in the boxes, like as it's loading down the screen. There's like a really like shitty JPEG like up at the top with some block letters.
It's like if you ever gone to like a website like recently and it like failed to load the right way,
right?
It brings up that version of the website.
You're like, oh,
and it's just like, oh, this is what everything used to look like.
Right.
It all used to look like this.
It's funny now if my phone like loads something too slow, I'm just like, God damn it.
Yeah.
Right.
If it's not like instantly loaded the moment that I hit search, it's like, what's happening? Why is this garbage?
This computer I carry around in my pocket.
Yeah. It's like basically a supercomputer.
I feel like it used to be, I remember when like 3G first came out, like I feel like you could load a web page pretty quickly, but it's like now, like you can't use 3G for anything.
No, 3G's worthless.
And I wonder, maybe it's just like
It definitely wasn't that bad when it first came out.
Right, and I'm wondering maybe it's just like there wasn't as much like data on a page like as you might have now. Like maybe that's why it doesn't work as well.
It could be that, but also maybe like maybe they're weeding that infrastructure out.
Yeah, that
it's
too.
A different type of tower or a different type of like emitter or whatever.
Right.
So I guess if that equipment's not around, then any 3G service that you do have is not going to be great.
Right.
I don't even think 5G works worth a shit.
Yeah, I
think 5G is terrible.
Yeah, everybody, like when they were talking about 5G is going to like revolutionize the way you watch porn on your phone, and it was like from when they made the switch from like 4G LTE over to 5G, I was like,
it's the same thing.
I'm not seeing any kind of difference here.
It's just the same thing. Because it was supposed to be like getting almost gigabit speeds like with 5G? Wasn't that like the whole?
I think so. Yeah, and I haven't seen that.
No.
I think it works better when it says LTE instead of 5G. I don't know if that's what the difference is between those.
Yeah, I don't know what LTE is.
Well, I know they had like 4G when it first started out, and they went into 4G LTE.
Yeah, which
I think maybe that's like an in between 4G and 5G,
like an amped up version of
right.
4G. Well, I know now, like sometimes I'll be if I'm in like kind of like a rural area. Mm-hmm. My phone will switch over to 4G service, and it's slow.
Yeah, it's really shitty.
So bad. And I'm like, it was not this bad when it was like, when it was the best thing that you had.
Right.
It was really good.
Right. But like you said, it might be that they're weeding out that infrastructure too. And I think probably what it is that when they make the swap over to the new thing, I think they throttle a lot of the other ones. To try to get you
onto the new
thing,
network or whatever it is. That makes sense. I can see them doing that. One thing that I think that 5G doesn't do is give you coronavirus. Do you remember?
I remember. Yeah, everybody like, isn't it just sort of a coincidence?
Yeah. Yes, it begins and ends there. It's a coincidence. The 5G towers are not giving you coronavirus.
the big COVID tower they put up.
Yeah. Like it's just whoa, 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 whoa. Everybody's like,
I was talking to somebody at work the other day about like the whole COVID shit. And he's on like the far right side of
Is he like way over there?
To a certain extent, not as bad as the guy who Was there somebody at work said COVID gives you herpes or some shit at your work?
No,
or whatever that
he
was?
said they put HIV in the vaccine.
Yeah, that's what it was.
COVID gives you herpes.
Some shit like that. But,
He might as well.
but I was laughing about people wearing masks in their car by themselves.
Right.
Like you go, there's a cloud of it, and you're just gonna drive straight through
Yeah.
it.
You don't have your car on circulating air. You're like, oh no! Oh! Yeah, I never got the mask in the car thing.
Yeah, I don't get the mask thing anymore anyway.
Well, yeah. I mean, when it was first, back in 2020, when it was fresh, it's like I wore a mask because.
Right. Well, nobody knew.
Yeah. Can you really blame me for not wanting to get COVID? Like, as far as I knew, it was.
I remember people wearing dirty underwear on their face.
Yeah, some people were. Yeah, some people were taking it kind of far. I mean, people would cut up their bras and strap them to their heads and shit. But once it was kind of not really an issue anymore, I was like, okay, I'm not going to wear a mask. But the thing is, if I go to an establishment and they're per our rules, we require you to wear a mask if you're going to be in here. And it's like, okay, I'll put one on.
Right.
But some people just lose their fucking shit over that.
Right. I think at this point, we know enough to be there's no point anymore for the mask thing. So it's it's their establishment and they can make the rules the way that they want to.
Yeah.
But if I would just be like, okay, well, I'm not going to deal with this, so I'll go somewhere else. So.
Yeah, exactly. You have that option. You can go somewhere else. Right. Yeah. It'd be different if they were busted into my house.
Yeah, put the mask on.
Put the mask on. You peon, like they're doing to people in Australia. Yeah, I mean, that's totally different. But some people just got so mad. How many fight videos came out where some old guy, was screaming at the top of his lungs.
There's some hostess.
Yeah, yeah. She's
she made the fucking Chili's.
It's her fucking fault. Yeah. Or there's so many videos of the Karens. Actually, if you wear the mask, it causes black mold to grow in your lungs. And it's why do you believe that?
Right.
Yeah. Why do you believe that the mask causes that, but it doesn't protect you from particles in the air?
Right.
It's his express purpose. Or where people were cut them open, look what's inside. They pull out the filter, this has asbestos, or this will make you gay.
And they pull out like a scratch off lottery ticket.
Oh, look, I won.
No, I remember. I think essentially that what they've said now is that it's the very specific type of mask that you have to wear in order for it to get the seal on your face.
Yeah.
To make it to where you're not breathing in any particles or anything.
It's filtering the
actually
air.
filtering the air.
Yeah, so the mask probably never really did me any favors because I had a big beard the whole time.
Right.
I just put it on to be compliant.
Right.
Yeah.
And you had people that would walk around with the cloth masks.
Yeah.
And it's well, that's not.
That's doing nothing.
That's doing nothing.
That's doing actually nothing.
Right.
For you.
Or people that would wear bandanas around their face, flapping open at the bottom.
Yeah.
My favorite was the people that would wear the shields with no mask.
Yeah.
I was what are you doing? It's not the coronavirus thing. I'm fuck.
I can't go straight into his head.
Right.
Yeah. Never mind that there's a giant opening at the bottom.
I just love the mass hysteria of everybody. Anytime media says anything, any slight inconvenience, like the gas shortage, was that about a year ago?
No.
Yeah.
And then you saw pictures of people filling up fucking garbage bags full of gas.
No.
And just put it in the bed of their truck.
Throw in the back of their fucking Ford Fusion.
Well, we've said it before. Maybe there's just too many people.
Yeah. There is too many people.
Yeah.
We recently passed 8 billion, and this planet cannot handle 8 billion people.
Yeah,
especially 8 billion idiots.
8 billion stupid people.
Just running around being stupid.
Yeah.
I think even 1 billion might be too much.
Yeah. Well, I know for a fact at least 4 billion of those 8 billion are stupid people.
Yeah. That's pretty generous. It's probably more than 4. I think that they're probably the majority.
Right.
But yeah, kind of to piggyback off what you said, anytime the media says anything, there's it seems like there's always this crop of people who are immediately trying to connect dots. Yeah. And well, why are they saying that? It's if if the entire Midwest caught on fire, some horrible like brush fire, and it destroyed all the crops, like, and that's actually what happened, and the news reported on it, like, well, actually, it's the Bilderbergs, and it's this, and it's that, JFK's coming back. It's like, why are you that way?
Well, also, I don't think that it helps their case if they keep proving Alex Jones right.
Yeah, yeah, we've said that a couple of times, and that definitely doesn't help because
it's not helping them.
No, because Alex Jones is a wild card,
Right.
and it just so happens that he's been proven right about a lot of things, and that I think that what happens is the people see that. And they're like, oh, well, anything that Alex Jones says is probably going to be right about that.
Right.
And so that gives him a lot of power.
He said some pretty wild shit, and then, like, everybody's like, oh, fuck, he was right.
The thing I always point to is the chemicals in the water making the frogs gay. That was real. Yeah, it was a funny meme, and I wish that was the end of it. Yeah. But nope, it was a real thing that was happening.
It's horrifying because it's true.
Yeah.
Well, what is it? They've got he was the one that was trying to sound the alarm on Epstein.
Yeah.
He's like, they've got an island that they go to, and they fuck kids.
They fuck kids.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, destroy the child. You ever seen that video? It's just out of, I don't know what it is. I've only ever seen it out of context. But it's him sitting there behind his desk, and he's all flustered and red, and he just goes, destroy the child. And it's like there are people that are watching this dude and are just hanging on every word that he says.
Anytime I've watched him, it's always for, like, entertainment value.
Because it's hilarious.
Because
he's fucking funny.
Like the way he's chasing people in New York City.
Yeah. You're a coward. Get back here, you coward.
I was thinking about the Epstein shit the other day. Like, why is that just gone now? Why does nobody talk about that?
That's the $1 million question. It didn't go away. Like, it's not just not a problem anymore. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Well, because I think if they told people who all was on that list, people would be pretty mad.
Yeah, I think the world would burn to the ground. Because from what I understand, everybody's on that list.
Right.
Like, the royal family's on that list.
A lot of
presidents.
A lot of senators, congressmen.
Yeah, CEOs like fucking Bill Gates.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that has to do with social media and the fact that it's good that social media can, like, point out all this bad shit that happens.
Yeah.
To let you know, like,
that there is bad things happening.
Bad things
Right.
happen, but there's so much bad shit that happens. It's like, oh yeah, that was last week's shit.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I mean, like, we're in a weird spot right now because, like, social media, like you said, it can point out all this bad shit that's happening. But then at the same time, like, you still have, like, legacy media.
Yeah.
That, like you said, like, a lot of people trust legacy media, like CNNs and Fox and MSNBC and, like that kind of
These
stuff.
institutions have been
These
around for a long time.
institutions, right? And they go, oh, no, that's not, we didn't report on that, so that's not true.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, no, we know for a fact that it's true.
Yeah.
So then you have, like, these two competing, like, thought processes.
Yeah.
Like,
And
if the
it's-
O.J. Simpson shit happened now, that would have been big for about 3 days.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it had been gone, and
On to
nobody
the
had been
next
watching
thing.
it on TV.
Yeah. But yeah, nothing really seems to hold people's attention for very long anymore. And it's funny too because think about, like, you know, what's the most popular social media app right now? It's TikTok. And TikTok is like these short form videos. And you don't really spend a whole lot of time on one thing, and you watch this 20-second thing and you're on to the next one. And then you have YouTube Shorts that are doing the same thing. So a lot of like the media that we ingest, like, for entertainment purposes is very short form and doesn't require you to put in a lot of mental,
Right.
pick up any of the mental slack. Like, it's all very, like, face value, and it's on to the next thing.
Right.
So I think that people have a hard time, like, I think it's like they're being conditioned to have a short attention span.
Possibly.
So that they quickly forget about, what's going on. Now, I say that not to
It's
say...
like a fucking chicken.
Well, yeah, not to say that it's being done on purpose, but I think that it's an unfortunate byproduct of that type of media.
Right. You're just getting, like, this dopamine hit. And
Yeah,
it's like
just one after another,
Before
yeah.
the dopamine can run out, it's like we're gonna hit you with another one.
Yeah.
So we're constantly pressing the button.
Yeah. It's like, I remember at my old job, like, everyone around me was watching TikToks all day long. Everybody was.
Yeah.
Sitting in their office, TikTok, TikTok, TikTok. Out in the field, TikTok, TikTok, TikTok. Did you see this TikTok? Oh, I saw, did you see this one? And it's like, I wasn't on TikTok
No.
because it's Chinese spyware and I don't want it on my phone. so I was like, what are you doing?
I don't have it on my phone either.
Yeah.
I ain't got it.
I'm good with Facebook, thank you.
Yeah, I'll stick with Facebook. Yeah, where I can like type out a really long, mean comment.
For the adult, so.
Yeah.
I'd rather just have my own government spy on me, thank you.
Well, let's bring in the podcast right quick, and I'll let you get what you're saying there. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode 53 of the Thicc Bois podcast. We're 3 episodes past when you guys were supposed to have a guest, but we do have a guest with us in the studio. That's what we're going to call it. In the studio today. Everybody, please welcome Aaron. Thank you for joining us today, Aaron.
Hey, you're welcome.
Aaron is our.
Yeah, don't mention it.
Aaron is our younger brother. He's the baby of the family.
Most reoccurrent guest. We've only ever had one other
Well, that's
one.
true. Yeah, you've this is your third appearance on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's been you and Chris.
Yeah.
My two guests.
Yeah. Aaron's living the farm life these days.
Yeah.
He just got some chickens.
I did buy some
Oh,
chickens.
you went
got-
to get some chickens?
He's got some sheep. He's old Farmer John out there. You
Yeah.
get
Sheep
you a
and
tractor?
chickens. I do have a tractor. I got a tractor with a bush hog.
Did you get your chicken coop put up?
Mm-hmm. We got that and then built another section for him, so.
How many? Did you tell me that you were going to have something close to like 30 eggs a week from those 4 chickens?
Yeah, so if they lay every day, like I don't know if they're supposed to, but they can. If they lay every day, it's 4 eggs a day. So it's like almost 30 eggs a week.
That'd be good.
So if y'all want eggs,
Fuck yeah.
I didn't realize that chickens laid every day.
they can.
I thought that was like a. I was working under the assumption that this was like a period type thing. Like once a month, they lay an
You
egg.
get an egg.
Get an egg every now and then.
Because that's how people work. That's how women work. Like once a month, you get an egg, and there's a lot of unfortunateness that goes along with it. But that's what happens.
I don't know the chicken's anatomy that well. All I know is they lay eggs,
Yeah.
and I want them.
I want fried up.
I'm going to fry it up right in front of them.
A chicken's vagina and butthole are one and the same.
Ah, yes, the cloaca.
Yeah, Chloe. Which is where the egg comes out of. So make sure you wash those eggs.
Ooh, that's
Yeah,
gross.
they get a little nasty.
Ugh.
You don't want any poo on there.
Well, we went to the store Wednesday or Thursday, and we bought a carton of eggs. 12 dozen eggs. Not 12 dozen.
12, that's a
A
lot
dozen,
of eggs.
a dozen eggs.
144 eggs.
But the dozen of eggs we bought was $7
Really?
for a dozen eggs.
Where'd you get them from?
What store did you go to?
Ingles.
Did you get
Wow.
just like the off-brand Laura Lynn kind?
I don't remember. I
I don't really look at
The name
brand
brand shit-
when I look for eggs.
I just look at like the cheapest one.
I just grab eggs. As far as I know, they're just eggs.
I get upset when Emily will try to get like some off-brand stuff. So I'm like, well, this one sucks,
Yeah.
and I want the name brand shit.
Oh yeah, I'm the same way. Like some, yeah.
It depends. It depends
Well,
on what it is.
Yes, it absolutely depends on what it is. If it's like fucking plastic wrap, yeah, I don't care. Get great value plastic wrap,
Yeah,
whatever.
or
But
like
do
milk.
not.
All
Yeah.
milk's the same
Don't
to me.
put fucking off-brand Pop-Tarts in my fucking house. What are you doing?
That's like as
It's
far as
not the
like
same.
mustard goes, I'll get the Lorland shit.
Yeah, I
but,
don't give, yeah, mustard's all mustard.
Yeah, mustard's mustard. Unless you're like you want like Grey Poupon, then you or like
Right.
but I'm very
Dijon.
picky about the mayonnaise I like,
Oh yeah.
and it's only
Yeah.
Blue
Yeah.
Plate. I only like Blue
You like
Plate.
Blue Plate? I like Duke.
See, I like both of them, and neither one of those doesn't
If I
matter
had to
me.
choose, it's gonna be Blue Plate every
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, don't be putting any fucking great value mayonnaise in my house.
Or Miracle Whip.
Ugh.
I don't understand who is that for? Who is Miracle Whip for?
Well,
Who-
it's
like
salad
sweet-
dressing.
Is it?
Yes, it's salad dressing.
Oh, I thought it was like a mayonnaise.
People put it on a sandwich like mayonnaise, because they're fucking insane.
Yeah, I thought it was like a mayo prostitute or substitute.
It's a white hooker.
It's like some dude sticking his dick in all the.
Got you for 2 hours, baby. Yeah, I thought people. I mean, I feel like I've only ever seen people even on the jar itself. It's like spread on a piece of bread. I'm pretty sure on the picture.
I swear it says dressing on
Was
there.
that the instructions on it? Spread it on a piece of bread.
Yeah, spread on bread and enjoy. Should be say open and scoop into the garbage because it's fucking nasty. It's like it's hard to explain like what the flavor of mayonnaise is.
Yeah.
Because I know like some people are repulsed by it, and like
I love mayonnaise, but I can see why somebody would not like it.
I can definitely
Yeah.
see why you wouldn't like it. Yeah, for sure. Because like it's like gelatinous and like tangy. Yeah. So it doesn't make sense like
Right.
that it would be enjable, but I like it. I like it on. You know, I'm not eating it by itself, but I'll put it on a
It's
sandwich
like,
or something.
It's a big spoonful of mayonnaise.
Right before I leave the house.
Yeah. Just fucking, down the hatch it goes.
I don't understand the hype behind Nutella neither. I think Nutella is awful.
I think it's okay.
It's
It's just
It doesn't. I don't feel like it tastes how it should taste. It should taste like chocolate, but it doesn't taste like chocolate.
well, it's hazelnut.
Yeah.
It's like hazelnut spread,
It's bullshit.
but it does look like chocolate. Yeah.
Wasn't that like the story behind that? Isn't it like it came out of Germany, like during World War II or World War I, because there was a chocolate shortage, and I think like
That
they
sounds
were
right.
substituting
Yeah.
hazelnut like into the chocolate to like make it go further.
That sounds right. Yeah. I feel like I've heard that before.
Yeah, I think I might have heard that from somewhere.
And Fanta was also a Nazi drink.
Oh,
Yeah, because there was a embargo on Coca-Cola products in
Yeah.
Germany during the war. So they came up with, I guess, their own thing. And it was kind of weird that they didn't go for like a cola thing. They're like, forget the cola. We're doing orange soda.
yeah,
And it was, so Fanta was made by the Nazis.
yeah. Well,
Let me rephrase that. Fanta was made in Nazi Germany. It wasn't like the atom bomb. It was like, but I'm pretty sure like when they made it, it was like really like, because they didn't have, all of their manufacturing was towards the war effort.
no.
So there wasn't a lot of good stuff to go around for, your fucking orange soda. We weren't super concerned with that. So that they made it out of like trash juice and like, it wasn't like
Yeah.
a super great product. And I'm pretty sure that Coca-Cola owns Fanta.
They do.
Yeah, so I think
Yeah,
after the
Coca-Cola
war,
product.
Coca-Cola was like, hey, I know that we like stopped selling our product over there, but we like your orange trash juice thing you got going here.
Well, they probably thought they were like, we can get into that market now.
Yeah.
So they were like, well, what do they have? And they were like, well, we'll take that and we'll just make it better.
The Germans like orange soda.
Yeah.
Don't know why, but
Yeah.
they do.
Like Adolf Fanta. I was like,
It's like a commercial with like Hitler. He's like all sweaty. He gets like a Fanta. He's like with the label towards the camera and everything. He's like, that's good. And then they had like some guy come up. He's like, "Oi, vey, can I have a sip?" It's like shoots him in the head.
I just like would imagine like the commercial would be, it's like they play like the Mentos like jingle in the back sort of, and then he's like up there like screaming into a microphone, and then he like gets off the stage and he like wipes the sweat off his brow, and then he turns up the Fanta.
Drinks a Fanta.
He like turns towards the camera and gives a thumbs up.
Some dude's like shoveling coal into like a gas chamber. Drinks a Fanta. Dude shooting a machine gun on the fucking beach, Normandy Beach. I think that, like, especially with soft drinks, there's been a lot more bloodshed involved in sodas than you might think that there was. Like, matter of fact, Fidel Castro, he loved Coke. And when Coke went to New Coke, that like sealed the deal on how much he hated America. Like he's on record saying like he was like Coca-Cola changing their formula. He's like that should tell you everything you need to know about America.
He's taking a hard line stance.
Yeah. He took it real hard. Like it's like, bro, this is Coke we're talking about here.
Like they did it to him.
Well, I heard that I guess Coca-Cola is the only person or entity that is allowed to import coca leaves into the U.S. to make Coca-Cola.
Really?
That's what gives it that taste. So you know how like Pepsi kind of tastes like Coke.
Pepsi's a lot sweeter.
But it just there's something about Coke that it's like it's this different taste. It got a different taste to it.
Yeah.
It's the coca leaf that I don't know how they'd use it in the processing, but I listened to a podcast with Joe Rogan where this guy came on and he was like explaining the whole deal.
Yeah.
And like how Pepsi, like they tried to like get in with it or whatever.
Yeah.
And the U.S. government was like, no, it's illegal. You can't do it. Coke's the only person that can do it. And Pepsi like tried to sue over it, and they're like, "No, fuck you."
No,
like,
fuck you. Like Coca-Cola's propping up this whole economy.
Right.
Yeah, we're
And
not gonna step on their toes.
I think at one point they were trying to grow coca leaves in Hawaii, and like it didn't like they had some type of like thing that came through and it killed
to
the
like
whole
get
crop.
around the import part of that. That makes sense.
Yeah, because I'd imagine like importing coca leaves is probably like dangerous activity because you know they make cocaine with it.
Yeah.
It's like I don't want the cocaine, I just want the leaf.
Yeah, I want to make soda out of this.
Right.
It's like if they used like poppy to make some kind of soda. I'm like, hey, you can also use it to make heroin.
Yeah.
Really great heroin.
Put opioids in my fucking 7-Up.
Yummy. Didn't they do 7-Up did a thing that was called like D&L. Do you remember D&L? It was just their logo flipped upside down.
Oh, I do remember that.
You remember that? Yeah. I remember we got like a case of it, and I was like, "This is 7-Up," and Mom was like, "No, it's not. It's D&L. It's totally different." I was like, "No, it's 7-Up." As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure that's the logo just upside down. It's funny that like corporations will do shit like that. Like they'll just get like it'll just be like business as usual for like 10 years,
Right.
And they're like, "Hey, what if we turn this whole operation on its head?" And everyone's like, "Yeah, it's a great idea." And it blows up in their face like, "Oh shit, we shouldn't have done that."
It was like when Dunkin' Donuts went to just Dunkin'. It's not Dunkin' Donuts anymore.
Oh,
yeah, people were mad about that.
You know which one people were really mad about? Was when IHOP went to IHOB.
Oh my God, that was real
people
too.
People were mad
that
about
was
that.
real.
Yes.
IHOB.
They got so mad, IHOP said, "Fucking fine, we'll change it back."
It's always so funny when like businesses will get bullied into redoing reverting some stupid change. I forgot all about IHOP.
Yeah, people were fucking mad about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've been the pancake place
Right.
for decades.
Right. I don't want your shitty burger.
Why would you change that?
It was like when they made the Sonic movie and they put the first trailer out with Sonic and everybody got super pissed.
Me and Gary have a theory on that.
Yeah, I do. The theory is that they always had the good Sonic design. They always
did that
had
on purpose so people would get mad and then go see it.
It's great. It's great marketing.
It's great marketing. Yeah. So I think they had both Sonics, and of course the one that they released at the beginning was that fucking nightmare with human teeth. And what it did was it generated conversation.
Right.
Got everybody talking about it. Because that's all anybody talked about for a long time. And it got memed into oblivion. And they were like, "Okay, guys, we'll redo the whole entire movie just for you."
Right.
Like, they already had that.
No.
I guarantee you the only scenes they had with the ugly Sonic were the ones that they showed in those trailers. Yeah. Because if you go and you watch, like the scenes like where in the trailers like where he's like like a spin ball or whatever he looks like what he looks like in the way the movie is now. I mean, I guess you can't really see a bunch of it because it's like a flashy blue thing, but the thing that really drove that theory home, where I think gives that theory a leg to stand on, is the Chippendale Rescue Rangers movie that came out. They were joking about Ugly Sonic. He's in that movie and he calls himself Ugly Sonic. So it's like I swear to God, they did that on purpose.
Yeah.
And if you know what, I mean, kudos.
Right.
That was great. Somebody came up.
That movie was actually really good.
Somebody had a great idea.
Really, I thought that I thought both of them, 1 and 2, I thought were just really good.
I haven't seen either one yet.
Yeah, I haven't watched any of them.
I've heard they are good though.
Yeah. Well, I watched them with Autumn because I was like, of course, like these are like kids movies or whatever.
Yeah, it's like when I was your age,
right.
I wanted nothing more than a Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
Right.
And now I get it when I'm 32.
Well, it's like, is it the new Mario movie they came out with that everybody's like all pissed off about?
Well, people are pissed off about the fact that Chris Pratt is the voice of Mario.
Now, is he doing just a regular voice?
Or is he actually like trying to?
Or is he trying to do
like Mario?
Is he trying to talk like Mario?
It just sounds like fucking Chris Pratt to me.
No, don't do that.
Yeah, they've released a couple of trailers. I guess you haven't seen any of them.
Mm-mm.
So when you get a chance, go watch the reveal trailer because the first person that shows up in the trailer is Bowser, who of course is voiced by Jack Black.
Yeah,
and
which I thought was weird too because I've never heard Bowser say anything.
Yeah, other than like whoa, whoa, whoa.
And now he's speaking, and I'm like, I don't like that neither.
But I will say that Jack Black he sells it really, really, really well.
Right.
It's a great fit for Bowser's voice. Like Jack Black, it's very convincing.
Right.
Like it doesn't even really sound like Jack Black.
No.
And then a little bit later, there's Mario, and he comes out and like he doesn't say a whole lot in the trailer, but at the end he says, "Mushroom Kingdom, here we come," just like that. Like there's no like wahoo like I'm Mario, like fucking Chris Martinet, who's been the voice of Mario since Mario had a fucking voice.
Right.
And there was a lot of discourse about like, okay, like
why wouldn't you just hire him to do it?
Like if it's a feature-length film, like would it be kind of grating to have Mario's voice throughout the duration of a feature-length film? It's like I kind of get where you're coming from with that, but also Charles Martinet is a professional voice actor.
Right.
I'm sure he could
probably tone it back a little bit.
Yeah, he could do it. So it's like it seemed like a real slap in the face to him.
Right.
Like he's Mario.
Right.
Why is Chris Pratt? Why Chris Pratt?
Yeah.
Just why him?
Yeah, well, especially too like with like an animated film, it's like you don't have to get big name actors to do these roles.
No,
there's really no point in it.
Well, I think I had mentioned it a few episodes back, when they did the Aladdin movie, Robin Williams was very hesitant to play Genie.
Right.
Because, he said, like, I'm an actor, I'm not a voice actor.
Right.
He was like, there are people who voice act, that's their job. He's like, I don't want to set a precedent of, big names in Hollywood taking that work away from those people that that's what they're supposed to do. And then, of course, he killed it as Genie. And so now they will use that as a selling point for our movie. Like, hey, we've got this big name actor. He's doing the voice of the thing. And it's like, well, if we're just hearing the voice, it
doesn't matter.
If I'm sitting here watching this movie, like, am I thinking about the fact that I'm listening to Chris Pratt or the fact that I'm looking at Mario?
Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know. I just think that. I mean, I don't know. If you were going to do like a real actor or like a non-voice actor, they should have done Joe Pesci for Mario. Bowser, you motherfucker.
They could have got the guy from Always Sunny.
Oh, Charlie Day?
No, not Charlie Day.
Danny DeVito.
Danny DeVito.
Yeah. Well, Charlie Day actually voices Luigi.
Oh, he does.
Yeah, and it kind of it fits. Like he has, there's one line that he has in the trailer, and it's pretty decent. But Seth Rogen is Donkey Kong.
Why?
Which I haven't seen that yet. Like I haven't seen Donkey Kong speaking in the movie, so it might work. I don't know.
Yeah.
But also, the other way I feel about it is it's a fucking Mario movie.
Right.
So
Well, it's not really for us.
it's not really for us.
Exactly. Well, I mean, it's a step in the right direction because the 80s Mario film essentially had nothing to do with Mario.
But it's still a fun movie to watch. At the very least, it's entertaining. Yeah,
I just don't understand why it is that. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I don't understand why it is that Hollywood seems to struggle so much with like video game based movies.
They always have. Always have. I think that the only one that they've ever was even kind of good was fucking Wreck-It Ralph. And it was a fake video game.
Right.
But they would have like, video game character cameos, like Eggman and Sonic are both in that movie.
Right.
But going back to the thing with Charles Martinet, he records voice lines for like these Mario games. and he might do anywhere from 30 to 40 voice lines. And Nintendo pays him handsomely for that. But, it's all things like, here we go, and I'm a Mario, and you wouldn't want to listen to that for an hour and a half.
Right.
You wouldn't.
But like you said.
But like I said, he's a professional voice actor. He is the voice of Parthenax in Skyrim.
Really?
Yeah. So if he has that kind of range,
Right.
That's from one end of the spectrum to another, like fucking Mario and a dragon. So he could probably come, somewhere in the middle there and do a voice that is reasonable. For
Mario gets on the screen and goes, whoosh.
Yeah. Dovahkiin. I mean, of course, they probably do a lot of filters and everything like that. But,
Right.
Still.
But they do fuck up a lot of video game-based movies. So I've bitched about the Halo show the last time I was here, or the first time I was here, how badly they fucked that up.
It's
'Cause I was
bad.
super excited for it because I love Halo.
How long have they been telling us we were going to get a Halo show? Ever since, Halo 2.
And then just absolutely fucking botched it. And I watched the whole thing because I was like, maybe it'll get better, and it never did.
It never did.
And they're like, yeah, we're coming with season 2. I'm like, don't. Fuck you.
Go away. The shots that they'll do where it's like from Chief's perspective and he's like shooting the gun and it's supposed to look like the first person shooter game. It's so stupid. It's just fucking stupid.
It's stupid because Chief's talking a lot.
Yeah, a lot. He takes his helmet off. He shows his face.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
He shows his face more than he doesn't.
Like, I think it was like the first 10 minutes of Chief actually being in the show. Like, when you see him, he takes his helmet off.
He's like, oh, hey, it's Master Chief. He's like, ha ha, here's my face. Here's my big dumb mug. Also, there's a human in the Covenant.
Yeah, like what?
And he fucks her, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
It's like, I just don't understand. It's like, you have the source material. Just make it look like the fucking game.
You have an enormous backlog. There's like,
Books
there's
and-
9 games?
Yeah.
All the way from 2001. There's like 14 books.
Right.
There's like all the Halo Legends, like animated stuff. There's plenty to draw from.
You could literally just make the show look exactly like the fucking game.
I'd watch it.
And everybody'd watch it.
Yeah. I'd watch it if it just looked like the game.
And it would be a great success.
Yeah.
They could have made the whole thing animated. It didn't have to be real actors.
Yeah. I would have been fine with that. If they would have just fucking stayed true to the source material. I don't know why they won't do that. And they do that on purpose. Do you know the game The Last of Us? Like that zombie game? It's a PlayStation title.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very cinematic game. It's you can't even really call it a game. Like it's a movie that you press buttons sometimes.
Right.
Well, they're doing a TV show for it. And the two main characters, Joel and Ellie. Joel is being played by Pedro Pascal, who does he was the Viper in Game of Thrones and also The Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
And then the young whoever's playing the young girl was Lyanna Mormont from Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah.
There's an interview they had with her where she said that they advised her not to play the games. Yet she is playing a character from the games. Why would you advise your actor to not familiarize themselves with the source material?
Yeah,
Because it's a guy that's going to have nothing to do with the source material.
That's all I can think. They're like, they probably don't want her to know what it's actually about.
Right.
And just go in there and act out whatever fucking schlock they've written for her.
Right. Well, wasn't that? I mean, isn't there like was it with The Witcher? Like Henry Cavill was like I'm done with this. Like
Yeah, he walked out on him.
Yeah.
Because
They kept fucking with the source material.
Because he's a huge fan of the Witcher series.
Right.
Like Henry Cavill, the guy that plays Superman, he's a big fucking nerd.
Right.
Like he plays Dungeons and Dragons. Like he's the nerd to end all nerds.
Right.
He likes to build PCs in his spare time.
Right.
So yeah, he was a huge a huge fan of the Witcher series, so he was probably super stoked to play Geralt.
Yeah.
Which the first season of The Witcher is really good.
No.
It's fantastic. But then they started moving into other seasons, and they were getting really far away from the source material, and it was pissing him off. He was like, why are we doing this? He's like, I know what the fans are going to want to see from this because I am a fan of this.
Right.
And they basically told him to fuck off, and then they were talking about how his toxic masculinity was hard to work with, and it's just...
I think what it is like you just get a whole bunch of cooks in the kitchen, and they're like, how do we market this to a broad audience?
It's always that broad audience.
It's like, well, why don't you try to target the audience that you know that you'll get, and you make a show so good that you start bringing in other people.
Yeah.
Or you can see how big the audience is for that game already.
Right.
Like the following Halo had.
Yeah. And just market to them. They're already there.
Well, I feel like with Halo 2, like they missed the boat with Halo.
Yeah.
Had they released...
They're like 20 years too late.
Right. Had they released like a Halo series or a movie in like 2009, that would have been like the perfect time.
Like peak time to do that.
I always thought if they did, instead of a show, you did like a series of movies.
Like a trilogy or something.
It would have been a lot better.
Right.
And they could have went the Darth Vader route too with having
Because then they could have put out a trailer and everybody could have bitched about it.
Yeah.
And
they would have switched it.
Right. There you go.
They could have went the Darth Vader route with having one person doing the acting in the suit, and then just have Steve Downes do the voice.
Right.
Because like with Darth Vader, that was a different guy in the suit, and James Earl Jones was doing the voice for him. So I mean, they totally could have done that. The fact that Steve Downes had nothing to do with the Halo show, are you fucking kidding me? What are you people doing? What is happening? Quit fucking with the things I like.
Yeah. Well, I feel like it's like if I was a showrunner. Like, I think just the showrunners that they hired is like, maybe they just like, they're like, I'm so much smarter than everybody else in the room. Like, I'm going to make it better.
That's what I'm
That's the only like reasonable explanation as to why, like, they would do the things that they do, because it's like you would see, like, obviously this is a game that has a massive following, like all these games, like these TV shows, like you don't have to fuck with it. Don't fuck with it. Just take the source material and be like, we're going to move forward with the source material.
Yeah.
We're just going to follow the source material. Like, I don't want any of your shitty ideas.
Yeah.
Like, we're just going to use the source material.
Yeah.
It's like they don't have any original ideas, so they take something that's already made and then try to put original ideas into it.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, this is something completely fucking different
like
now.
all you manage to do is take a good thing and ruin it.
Yeah.
Right.
And then when people say they don't like it, you just want to call them insults.
Yeah.
Everybody's a racist and a bigot and all this because you ruined their thing that they liked.
Like, no, you're just a jackass that ruins nice things.
That's like if you bought a car.
Yeah.
I don't know a whole shit ton about cars and fixing them, but if you bought a car and I was like, let me fuck with it.
Yeah, let
and
me
I
make it
started
better.
pulling shit out of it, and then you didn't like it, and I'm like, wow, you're racist piece of
racist.
shit.
You don't like.
That's
you don't
all
like.
you are.
You don't like that I took all the seats out of your car because you're a racist.
And put like lawn chairs back in it.
Yeah. Like, imagine if somebody you're talking about stuff that has has been around for a long time and it has a huge following and lots of fans and dedicated fervent fans.
Right.
So imagine if somebody came in, like one person came in and bought the NFL, and this so and so person owns the NFL now. And then said, hey, we're going to do away with helmets. No more of those. Everybody gets boxing gloves and baseball bats. And everybody in the audience is going to throw baseballs down, and they have to try to score home runs, and that's how NFL is going to be played now. You would be like, well, if I wanted to watch boxing or baseball, I'd go watch boxing or baseball. Why are you bringing this into my football? Like, I come here for football. It's like, it's got to be, I don't know if I can't tell if it's an incompetence thing or it's, like you said, an arrogance thing.
I think it's an arrogance
or some
thing.
God-awful mixture of the two.
No. The only thing that I can think of that I think it's an arrogance thing. I think it's the people I think just people that are showrunners, like, I don't think they're not going to hand over a show that they think is going to make a whole lot of money, because most of these shows that they put out, they're going to go, this is a cash cow. Like, we know that there's an audience for this. It's like, so they're going to go get a showrunner from another big show that's had success.
Yeah. Play it real safe.
Play it real safe.
Yeah.
And they're going to bring this person in, and they're going to have no idea what this is.
Yeah.
And they're going to go, well, this doesn't match any of my previous experience doing show running, and I'm really smart because I've had success doing this.
Yeah.
So we're not going to do any of this shit. We're going to bring this shit in,
Yeah.
and we're going to do it this way. And then it pisses everybody off, and they go, and then they step back and they go, well, it can't possibly be me.
Yeah, it
because
can't be
I've
my
had
fault.
success everywhere else.
Yeah.
It must be this shitty material that I was given to
I've
work
literally
with.
never failed.
Right. Well, that's why The Mandalorian was such a great success, because Jon Favreau is a massive Star Wars fan.
Yeah, and was it Kevin Feige?
And Kevin Feige.
Yeah. So when and it's always this way that like, you know, when the fans are making stuff, they make things that the fans will enjoy.
Right.
So why not consult the fans?
Right.
Why not ask them what they want to see, instead of like telling them that the fact that they don't like what they're seeing is because they're racist.
Yeah. Don't listen to your lying eyes. It's sort of like with the Star Wars trilogy, the last three. It's like the people that you hire to direct these movies, they don't even like Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's like, so they don't give a fuck. Like, what happens?
Yeah.
It's like, if you hired somebody, like if you would have hired Kevin Feige to direct those, they would have been great. They'd have been a success, because he would have paid homage to the previous ones and probably would have dealt with it much differently.
Yeah.
It's like, because I think there could have been a way that you could have written Rey's character where there was character development.
Well, they ended with her being a gray Jedi, and that was never like literally the last fucking scene. The last shot is her with a yellow lightsaber, and she's a gray Jedi. That was never touched on.
No.
In those three movies, they're like, oh, by the way, there's this thing.
Right.
I feel like having me direct Star Wars, and I don't watch it.
Right.
And you just turned it in like something that you like The Office.
Yeah.
Not to say I like The Office too, but like I'm just saying. So
I feel like I would like The Mandalorian, but because I don't watch any Star Wars, I don't
is
feel like
good.
I would know what I was.
It's good. You don't have to know a whole lot about Star Wars to enjoy The Mandalorian. It kind of exists outside of that and kind of its own thing. And I've kind of compared it to like Samurai Jack, where you have like each episode is kind of like its own story, but there's like an overarching like conflict. So it's very easily digestible.
Yeah.
But I'm going to switch gears right quick because we have a submission from a listener, a topic they'd like us to discuss, and it works out well because you're here. So all three of the brothers are
There
here.
we go.
Racism.
So I don't know if this person will want me to say their name because some of the stuff seems pretty personal, but I'll just go ahead and read what they sent us. It said, submission for a talking topic. Personal topic, but I'm lost. Maybe you both have a different view of this. How do you stay close as siblings, brothers closer in age? Through different lifestyle choices as in college/military, race of spouses, all of it. In my family, I paid for my own college. He got his paid. His wife has a single father and paid for hers in their wedding. She kept her maiden name. They look down on me for going military, and honestly, that's the tip of the issues. But would love to hear from you both how you maintain a close brotherhood. So, I've been thinking about that question, and I think.
Let me get my ducks in a row. You're saying that his brother or his sister, whatever.
And so him and his brother don't have a good
relationship. His parents seem to like him more.
Seem to like his brother more.
His brother more.
Yeah, and they give him shit for going the military route.
Oh, okay.
So as far as like I think as far as the military thing goes, well, Dad was in the military.
Right.
So I think that there was some kind of legacy there with you in the military.
Right.
So that was something, between you and Dad, you shared that experience. And you're the same branch too.
Right.
But as far as like how we maintain a close brotherhood, it's kind of, I don't really know how to answer that because I don't feel like there's a ton of maintenance. I feel that
I think it's mostly done through humor.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah. The three of us get together and we just start goofing around.
Right, exactly.
Like, and a
lot of it could have to do with your parents too.
Yeah.
I mean, Mom and Dad never really treated any of us differently. I mean, I probably got away with a lot more shit.
Oh yeah, you did. You absolutely did. Make no mistake.
But they weren't like buying like West shit.
Yeah,
and
there wasn't one of us that was clearly favored.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I feel like they did a pretty good job as far as, like, if we had an interest, them trying to cultivate that
Absolutely.
that interest.
Yeah.
Like mine with, like, the throwing thing, obviously, and then, like, you enjoyed doing band, and they tried to make sure you had the stuff that you needed in order to go and do
music,
band competition and music and that kind of stuff. And then, like,
I had basketball and
just different
hell, I
sports
did
and everything.
fucking bowling in 5th grade.
Right,
and they
exactly.
paid for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Just because I liked doing it.
Yeah.
Right.
So they as far as the parents go, I think mom and dad did a bang up job.
Right.
They made sure they always had us in something. We were doing something. There was always
Right.
some kind of outside activity. I didn't like really any of them, but I did them.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I guess it kept me out of trouble, more so trouble than I would have been in.
Right.
But as far as like our relationship with each other, there was a time where this was like a hate triangle. Because when I was in from 3rd to 5th grade, none of us liked anybody.
No.
Like, I didn't like you didn't like me, we didn't like you didn't like us. We just didn't like each other. And I think it was because there's a 2 year age difference between me and you, and between me and you. So I'm the middle
Right.
child. So
I think we're 3 years apart.
it's like depending on what time of the year. How old are you right now?
27.
27. I'm 30. So you turn.
Well, you'll be 31 like a month before I turn 28.
Oh, so we actually have a 4-year age difference at one point.
Yeah.
So I think the three of us were like.
And then me and you are about 6 years apart,
Right.
so
Yeah.
there's nothing in fucking common.
Yeah, so
Right. For an extended period of time, you have
Yeah.
nothing in common with your youngest brother.
like
when
an
you- when
8-year-old and a
right.
14-year-old.
when you become
Right.
a teenager and I'm 7.
Right. Exactly.
So I think that I wouldn't say that we hated each other, but we definitely did not spend.
It was very contentious.
It was very contentious, and I think that that's natural. I think that
Right.
siblings will
Yeah.
fight.
Make no mistake, like, it hasn't always been this way.
Yeah, no. But we were very young though,
Right,
so
exactly.
it didn't really. That did not
I think
carry
that's just
over.
just being kids though.
Yeah.
Like, I think for anybody that has brothers or sisters, like, you go through that phase of really not fucking liking each other. Like, I can't fucking stand your ass. Like, I think everybody, like, I know that.
Just the sight.
Yeah.
Me waking up and knowing you're the room over. I fucking hate it.
But it is strange though, because if anybody fucked with any of the other ones, it's like, no,
No, we're not doing that.
we're not doing that.
No. Like,
Yeah.
this is us.
Right.
Like, you can't come in here and start all that nonsense.
It was like when I'm not gonna say his name or why he was over there, but I think he was like fucking with Gary. We were outside playing football.
Yeah.
Right? And he was fucking with Gary. And I didn't like Gary at the time.
Yeah.
But
Then Aaron kicked that kid's ass.
Aaron kicked the shit out of that kid.
Which is always funny, because I think mom and dad, like, they were like, I think they always kind of knew. They're like, yeah, they don't fucking like each other right now, but later on, like,
Yeah.
they'll be okay.
Yeah. Well, I think that, I think you and me and Wes, I think we grew closer. I think me and you grew closer before me and Aaron did, because Aaron was the baby.
Right.
And so you and I both felt that Aaron got away with too much.
Right.
And we're like, we got to team up and have each other's backs. So I think.
Because I specifically remember we would do something,
Yeah.
and then Aaron would try to go tell mom, and we'd be like, we don't know what he's talking
We
about.
have no idea. We don't know what he's on. And then when you moved away to college, then me and
Exactly,
it was really
yep.
just me and Aaron.
Right.
And of course we had grown closer before that too, but then me and you did stuff together all the time. So I think that as far as like a brotherhood is concerned, I don't know. I don't know how to answer it. It was never It wasn't always easy.
There was never a falling out.
There was never a big
Any of
falling
us.
out like where, you know, and that stuff happens in families all the time.
Right.
I mean, I've seen it happen to other families where somebody will do some shitty thing and then it just never
I've seen
gets...
it happen to parts of our family.
Yeah, it just never gets fixed.
Like I
Right.
said, I think a lot of that falls back onto your parents because they got to step in
Yeah.
if it gets to that point
Yeah.
and, like, I don't want to say make y'all like each other, but
It just
kind of
intervene in some
be
way.
a mediator.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
And I was a mediator between you two
Right.
because, I mean, when there was a while there where you get Wes and Aaron together, it was like putting cats and dogs in the same room. It just wasn't going to go down good.
Well, my biggest gripe, and I've told Mom and Dad with this before, it's like, me and you would fight.
Yeah.
It's like, but I couldn't put my hands on you.
He was 6 years older than he was.
So there was like a lot of rage there.
Yeah, he got directed at me.
So, and you know, and I spent a lot.
And I was a conniving little asshole.
Right. It was like dealing with Loki.
Yeah, I did like little Weasley things.
So, and plus two, I think it's sort of it's hard to kind of pinpoint too, cause like after I left, like once I left and went to college when I turned 18, like I was gone. Like I didn't really come back.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I went in the military and everything. It's like from 18 till 26, like
You were gone.
I've been gone. Like I haven't been home.
Yeah, you really didn't put down roots here back home until what, 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah, when we moved back after I got done with the military.
Yeah.
Yeah, like once I left and went to Auburn, like I was kind of gone at that point.
Yeah. So just from what I read there, I kind of get the feeling that a lot of the contention between, you know, this particular listener and their brother seems to be born of how they are looked at by their family.
Right.
And, you know, I would hope that the person listening, they don't look down on themselves for being in the military.
No.
Because that, you know, I have a great respect for you going into the military. Mm-hmm. I know you hated it and you were like, it was the worst shit ever.
Right. It was not fun. But
And, you know, it's like you didn't see any combat.
Right.
But, I mean, you were in the fucking Navy out over there overseas. Like, if it broke out, there you are.
Right.
But you still, you know, even if you didn't see combat, you still are making the sacrifice of being away from your family and having to be in the fucking military.
Right.
That's still a sacrifice, in my opinion. So I would sincerely hope that the person who wrote in doesn't feel ashamed of that. There's nothing to be ashamed of. It's something to take pride in. But it's hard to say because it's.
I mean, I'm sure when you have a contract in front of you for I don't know, 4 to however long your contract can be.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be fucking scary as shit.
Yeah.
It's not a job. You can't just fucking quit.
Yeah, like I'm done.
Right.
Now you go to jail.
Right. Yeah, that was probably like the hardest part is like when I got out of boot camp and like started doing like the technical training, I was like, I've made a mistake.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
I was like, I got 5 years and 8 more months of this.
And it's going to go away. It's going to go by one day at a time.
And then I came home. I remember I looked at Alice and I said, you know, there's going to be a kid in 6th grade that's going to graduate high school by the time I'm done with the military. I was like, let me put that in perspective for you.
That's how much that's going to suck.
Yeah. Like, you remember 6th grade graduation?
Some little shithead middle schooler.
Yeah. No, I think that as far as feeling treated differently based upon your life choices, I think you have to be okay with your choices. And it doesn't really matter what anybody else thinks.
And, we don't, of course, we don't know the exact details of your situation. But, it could be that a lot of the judgment that you feel is coming from yourself. I'm guilty of that.
Right.
I'll think like, oh, they think about me this way because I did this thing. And if I look at it objectively, I've never been, I've never, my family has never made it a point to let me know that they look down on me for any particular thing that I've done. I just myself will hold that against myself.
Right. Yeah, I do the same thing. I certainly, there are not as much now. Like since I have a daughter, I don't have time to
worry about that.
To worry about all my own faults and everything.
Yeah.
I just
make sure she doesn't get fucked up.
Yeah, I have to kind of keep it moving. But like there was a time, especially when I was in the military, that was really hard because I was coming from, I was really good at track and field.
Yeah.
And I held some national records, and it just didn't work out in college.
Yeah.
And, feeling like a failure, and I had to go to the backup plan.
Yeah.
Like that was difficult for me. And there was a lot of self-doubt and a lot of self-hatred that kind of went into that. But as you get older, like you kind of have to forgive yourself for some things.
Absolutely.
Because you're just you're just a fucking kid. Like you don't know any better.
This is your first time doing it.
Right.
This is your first time living life. And this is the only chance you get. So you can't hold every single failure, to your throat like that.
Right.
You can't do that.
You just kind of have to take your lumps and keep it moving.
Yeah.
And, if something doesn't work out, then you have to pivot and you have to do something else.
Yeah.
But that's certainly, I don't look back on my time in the military, and I don't think this person should either, with any type of regret. It certainly gave me a lot of life lessons and
probably a lot of perspective. Too.
A lot of perspective because you get to meet a lot of different people.
You went different places.
It afforded me the opportunity to go back to school and kind of right a wrong that I thought that.
Now you know what the alternative was.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and that was a big thing. Was like I was like I didn't get my degree.
Yeah.
So, but it afforded me the opportunity to go back and to fix that because that was something that was important to me. It might not be important to this person, but it was to me. So it gave me that opportunity.
That's another thing too is, he had mentioned difference in lifestyles or life choices. I guess we all kind of went a different direction.
So hell, none of us have a job that's even remotely close to being the same as each other.
I mean, me and you were kind of neck and neck for a little while, and then even then it kind of went two different directions. But it's think about like what we all did when we graduated high school. You went to college, and I went to college, and then I stopped going to college, and you went to technical school for a little while,
like a semester.
Yeah. So we all just kind of
I bombed a math final, and I was like, yeah, fuck that, I'm done.
So,
I'll take that back. I had a 96 going in, and then you had a test before the final, and I was like, I'll have a week. I'll just take it off. Where I made a 0 on a test, and it dropped me down to like a 70 or something, and I bombed the final and failed the class. I was like, yeah, that's it.
There it is.
I was like, yeah, I'm good with that. I'll go do something else.
But I look at where I am now in my life, and the fact that I had the job that I do is nothing short of a miracle. I mean, I'm not making 6 figures or anything like that, but I'm able to keep the lights on in this place and keep me and my wife fed. Take my fucking dogs to the fucking vet every fucking week. But there was a while there in my life where I was in a super dark place, and a lot of people don't really know just how dark it was. It was, I had moved out of the house. I had moved out of the house and into the apartment over there, and I was as poor can be.
Yeah, the Roach Motel.
Roach Motel. It wasn't. It wasn't even just the financial side of it. As I was, it took me a few years after the fact to know that I was in an abusive relationship, and the one before that was kind of bad too, and I really kind of started like
couple stinkers there.
Yeah, a couple
real stinkers
back to back, not good. And it got real bad. It got real bad, and I had a lot of thoughts that were very intrusive, and and then one day it just kind of turned around.
No.
And my life as a whole has kind of been that way.
Right.
Where it's like one day it got better. Like, so I never really feel like I never really feel like I'm in a position to like give advice on things.
Right.
Because, I'll be asked, what did you do when such and such happened? And I'll just be like, I just kind of kept my head down and I just stayed alive. And it's so I think that, there's probably something to be said about that. Just keep your head down and hunker down and just kind of muscle through it the best you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never been like the one to be down on myself. I second guess myself a lot. Like it's hard for me to like.
I primarily second guess myself.
It's like it's hard for me to like immediately do something.
Yeah.
The job I have now, I feel like it's helped with that because I can't fucking do that.
Yeah, you can't fuck that up.
It's like
you could, but it would be really bad
like,
if you did.
I'm the one out there making decisions, and I can't be like running around second guessing myself, and then I have my crew looking at me like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've never really dealt with. I don't want to say depression, but being hard on myself.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hard on myself and I fuck stuff up.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I think most people are. Yeah. Some people take it to an extreme.
Right.
I've never like self-harmed or anything like that, but
like I've never felt like I fucked up and mom and dad didn't
love you anymore.
Didn't love me anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it sucked because it was like I felt like I let them down, but I was kind of like, whatever.
Yeah, don't get over it. So I don't know if I really have an answer to the question of, how do we maintain a close brotherhood? There's a lot of factors at play. A big part of it is,
a lot of it was growing up. I think just getting older.
Growing up, just I think the differences in lifestyles maybe kind of helped us too. Because I think all three of us kind of feel very autonomous.
Right.
In our own lives. Mom and dad, of course, have a huge part in, in us. I think us having the relationship that we do, just by the way they raised us, and never felt that mom and dad didn't love us.
No,
not once.
No.
Like you said, we had falling outs in our family. I feel like if we saw that, and we're probably like, that doesn't look good.
Yeah.
That looks like it fucking sucks.
Yeah.
I don't want to go through that.
Yeah,
No.
From the outside looking in, I want no part of that.
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody can be like, "Oh, we're the normal family in our family." No, we're the normal family.
No, we are. Make no mistake. But, it's, I guess, kind of a thought experiment is, if something happened between, me and Aaron, where me and him had a falling out, or me and you had a falling out, I guess without knowing what that would be, I can't really say, like, how would you repair that? Or how would you maintain a brotherhood through that? Or I
think we'd all be good. Like, if y'all two fell out, I don't think, like, either one of y'all could come to me and, like, bitch about the other one.
No.
Except, like, what?
No.
Well, no, I think
Don't be bringing that shit to me.
I don't know. I think that would be the case. I think that, naturally.
Like, I'm not saying, like, if y'all had a falling out and then you came to me, I would side with you.
Yeah. But you at least hear what I had to say.
And I'd be like, all right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I wouldn't, like, then have a falling out with Wes because you had a falling out with him.
Right.
But I think that that mediary thing kind of comes into play there, too, because there is three of us.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if two of us aren't getting along, there's another one to kind of bridge that gap.
Right.
So.
Well, I think, too, I think that kind of with your family, like, kind of the best policy is just, like, being truthful. As, like, and just being, it is what it is. And, it's better for everybody involved. Like, if you were just straight up with the people that you're, especially, like, with your siblings.
Yeah.
Like, because there's a level of truth that you can have with your siblings that maybe you can't have with your parents.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you can be very truthful with your brothers or your sisters or whatever, and like you certainly can't do that with like your grandparents or like your parents,
Yeah.
So usually I would say the best policy is just to be truthful and just be like, it is what it is. That way you can make a proper decision on me and I can make a proper decision on you.
And, too, is, you and your siblings, there could very well come a time where when you consider who's left in your family,
Right.
where it could just be the three of us.
Right.
I mean, we'll still have our wives and our kids and our cousins and whoever may happen to
but
be.
Those that have gone before us.
Yeah, but there, will come a time where we don't have mom and dad anymore.
Right.
And it's just the three of us. And that's going to suck. Of course,
Right.
it's going to be awful. But it's a fact of life.
Right.
So I think that, whatever you gotta do to maintain that relationship, I think is important.
Right.
However, if somebody really fucking wrongs
If they're
you,
a real cunt.
if somebody really does you bad, like steals your money
Right.
or your medication, or it causes your grandparent to die, something along those lines, then maybe that's not even worth fixing with that person. I don't know. I think there's a lot of angles to it.
Not that I would know anything about that.
I think there's a lot of angles to this thing, and there's a lot of things to consider. And of course, it's going to be different from family to family. But to try and narrow it down to one thing that helps us, I think it's, like you said earlier, humor.
I think it's humor.
I think we can all, the three of us, we can get together, and regardless of how much time it's been, it's just like just start joking around and
right.
Cutting up and. Like me and you shooting off fireworks, almost lighting the house on fire. We weren't 13 when we did that. That was this past 4th of July.
Right. We launched one back up over the top of our grandmother's house.
Yeah, into our family.
Yeah, I'd have to say humor, because but then that's sort of been the way that I've picked my friends as well. It's like I want to be around people that can make me laugh.
Yeah, people I enjoy being around.
Right, exactly. It's like
have you ever had friends that are just kind of fucking doom and gloom all the time?
No.
Nothing ever makes them happy. Everything sucks.
Right.
It's like, dude, you're a fucking bummer.
Yeah.
Like, I love you, but fucking...
At least have some dark humor.
Yeah. If you're going to be dark all the time, throw a giggle in there once or twice.
It's like, I know your life sucks, but dude, you fucking suck.
Yeah, I hate being around you, man.
You're awful.
Really bring me down. So, I don't know. I don't really know if I have an answer to that, but I hope that somewhere in that conversation there was something to take away from it.
A little nugget of something there.
A little nugget of something.
I'm certainly not a clinical psychologist,
No,
so
we are not.
No.
We are not fit to give advice on anything. but I do like the advice section, So if you guys have any questions for us like that, absolutely feel free to send those in. I like good, thought-provoking conversations like that. Good to have. But I think that's about all we got time for today, everybody. So once again, thank you so much, everybody who has been listening. I hope that you've been enjoying the podcast. I had mentioned on the previous episode that our numbers have been steadily going up, not just our cumulative downloads, but also like our listener retention, and I think we do have some new listeners. So if anybody's new, hello and welcome.
Shout out to you.
Yes, big shout out to you. Thank you for joining us. If you are new, make sure you follow us on podcast. Follow us on podcast. Follow us on Facebook. You can also send us an email at thickboypodcast@gmail.com if you have anything you'd like us to discuss, or if we pissed you off, or we were wrong about anything. Make sure you write in, you let us know, and we'll read it out. We'll read the correction out here on the podcast. A new segment we have called "I'm Sorry." Do you have anything?
Nope. Just thank you for the continued support. You can follow us on Twitter. I think it's at TB Podcast.
It's Thicc Bois Podcast.
Yeah.
because
I misspelled it.
So you misspelled the email because it's supposed to be Thicc Bois, and he forgot the S. And then when we did our Twitter, he forgot the fucking D in podcast. So maybe we can just make that a reoccurring theme, just like drop all over and everything. But,
so you can follow us there too.
Don't expect too much from the Twitter though, because neither Wes or I can figure out how to log into the damn thing. So we'll get that. We'll try and get that figured out.
We would suggest probably Facebook. That's probably
where we're most active.
Yeah, most active, and it's not very much there either. Yeah. So
you guys know how it is.
Yeah, well,
At least you know where to get in contact with.
Yeah. Also, too, one of our listeners, I saw him the other day, and he said he was enjoying the podcast. He listens to it while he's on patrol. So
look, there you go. Serving, protecting, and listening to the Thicc Bois podcast.
Yep, there you go.
Hope you have a nice laugh while you're chasing down the bad guys.
Maybe when he arrests somebody, throws them in the back, he turned the podcast on.
He's like, you're listening to these guys? Aaron, thank you so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Appreciate you having me back.
Feel free to join us anytime that mic just sits there all by its lonesome.
That's right. Get some stickers.
Yeah, and get some stickers.
Yeah.
We still have some of those left.
I need another one.
You need another one?
So I put it on my core, and then it just
deteriorated.
Yeah,
the one
stepping
that,
on it.
The one that I put out in the outside has not done so hot in the weather and in the sun, but it lasted a lot longer than I thought it was going to, being just a paper sticker. So
There you go.
At least there's something to be said
And
about
wasn't
that.
it like you set that up with that QR code where you could find out like how many people had like done it?
Yeah. So the thing about the QR code was I just literally Googled QR code generator, and I found this website that was called that, and so I made one. And so it would tell me like when people were scanning the QR code, where they scanned it from, and all these different things. And then about a month or so later, they charged me $120 for a year subscription for that service. So I have since canceled that. So I think in April, those QR codes aren't going to go anywhere. But at least it still has the name of the podcast on it. So they tricked me, those bastards. But, yeah, thanks again, everybody, for listening. Thank you, Aaron, for joining us. And that's the podcast, everybody. Thank you and goodbye.
Bye.